I'm Art Fennell. This is Havana, Cuba, a forbidden fruit just 90 miles from the coast of Florida. But this is a country, a lifestyle, and a people that Americans haven't been able to see and freely experience for 50 years now. As a result of that, there's a lingering mystique about life in Cuba, and it's as thick as the hot, humid tropical air here. Over the next hour, I'll try and pull back the curtain and expose that mystique so you can see for yourself who these people are and what life on this island is really all about. So first things first, let's start with a look around. Havana is Cuba's largest city, a city on the move. There are 2.5 million people here, and they've all got somewhere to go. Getting there is the challenge. Transportation here is a nightmare. There's simply no efficient way to move all these people with so few public transportation vehicles. Most of the buses here are old and dirty, and they are always packed. They call these camels. You can see why. Those who can't get a camel pay to climb on the back of converted canopy trucks, get pulled by a horse, ride a bike or scooter, or simply hitchhike to ride in a 50-year-old smoky jalopy. You can find those just about everywhere. By the way, hitching rides here is a big part of the Cuban culture. The government says that certain private car owners must pick up riders to help share the transportation burden.
They are forced to stop.
They must pick up riders to give them rides.
They must, absolutely.
So hitchhiking is really a legitimate way of transportation here.
It is neat, because this is a problem for the human society.
The senoritas have it best. You'll commonly see them hitching a ride on the back of a stranger's scooter, or perhaps thumbing their way to their next destination. Drivers appear to be a bit more inclined to stop for a damsel in distress on the street. Typically, they get picked up with little or no problem at all. Remember, Cuba is a communist country and things are different here. For example, you won't find much of a homeless population. The housing is free. Everybody gets a place to live. No rent, no mortgages, but you can't own a home. All housing is assigned by the government. It's squalor conditions, not much furniture, little electricity, random blackouts. 98% of the people here don't have hot water, but they pay minimal utilities. Clothes drying out of a window or on a balcony is a common sight all over the city. You've probably already figured out that the people here don't have lots of money. The average income, we're told, is a paltry 10 to 20 pesos a month, slightly more than you see here. That's why the people pay little or no taxes. There's also a food shortage in Cuba. The people receive allocations of rations to feed their families. If I told you security was tight here, I'd be lying. It's extra tight. The policio is practically everywhere. A clear and present watchdog. It's not uncommon to see people being stopped and checked and written up. Locals aren't allowed to set foot in or patronize the city hotels, or set foot on or relax on the many tourist beaches. They could possibly even get in trouble for talking to the tourist on the street. That is, unless you don't look like the regular tourists who visit here.
You're black, so we can, maybe it's possible, talk to you. Yeah. If you were white, maybe not. We'll get in trouble with police.
Clearly, a walk on the street reveals that Cubans represent a wide range of skin tones and cultures and influences. Influences from America even. You can see that in some of the clothing, from Sean John and the Chicago Bulls to the U.S. Army. Like Americans?
American.
Yeah. You like? Yeah? You can also see the American influence and the respect in their monuments. Here's one for Martin Luther King. another in honor of Abraham Lincoln. Let me share one more thing with you. As I've been out here on the street talking, you realize the people here don't see a lot of Americans. So I've seen a few people stop and stare, and I've gotten a few funny looks along the way. That can make you feel just a bit uncomfortable. That is until you actually stop and talk to some of these people, because that's when you'll find out. They say they like America, they love our people, and they love our culture. They just don't like our government, and they really don't like our president. Anti-Bush billboards are plentiful all over the city. This one compares President Bush and an exiled Cuban terrorist to Adolf Hitler. This one reads, "The Assassin," and it shows George Bush as a blood-stained vampire with a bloody fist. And this cartoon billboard is very popular. It shows Uncle Sam taunting across the water to a defiant Cuban revolutionist who's saying to Uncle Sam, "Senor Imperialist, we are absolutely not afraid of you."
En esos paneles de jueces.
Dr. Ruben Remigio Ferro is head of the Cuban Supreme Court, and he tells me all Cuba wants from the Bush administration is mutual respect.
Diciéndole al pueblo de Estados Unidos o al gobierno que tienen que hacer las cosas de esta forma o de esta otra forma.
Even if your neighbor is different from you. We're not telling anybody in the States how to do things, and we demand not to be told how to do things.
It is a sentiment I heard often while reporting here. But Cuban officials have grown increasingly sensitive about how the international media portrays them.
In many ways, it's a journalistic epiphany.
Something that USA Today columnist Dwayne Wickham has experienced on many occasions. You see, this is his 12th reporting expedition here.
This is without a doubt a communist country. It is without a doubt a one-party state. It is without a doubt a socialist system. But it is not what we think of it as being in terms of a totalitarian state, a police state. Sure, there's particularly here in this tourist area, there's high security. Cubans are very sensitive about their tourism. It's the mother's milk of their economy. But by and large, this is a state where people move about freely. The life is easy, if not good, by our standards. And Cubans very much are focused on today and tomorrow, not on the politics of our relationships.
Just a few days after this interview, several Western journalists on assignment in Cuba were told they'd have to leave the country because of their negative reporting on the Cuban government.